Panther people, what up? The draft is done. Now, what do we talk about? I want your Panthers post to Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. Figured I'd wear the non-processed blue jersey before the new merch makes its way over to my house. But first, I want to give away a new Bryce Young processed blue jersey. Find out who won later on in the show. Just want to give my overall thoughts on the draft. You already know how I feel about Bryce Young, as well as Jonathan Mingo, as well as DJ Johnson. If you want to check those reviews out, make sure to check the videos out just a couple days ago. They're not that old. Check them. I give my emotional response. Literally, guys get drafted, and I give my opinion soon after that. But you don't know my thoughts on how the Panthers did on day 3, including the undrafted free agent class. And for some reason, I feel a little bit more intrigued about those guys than I do about some of the guys that we drafted. Now, let's talk about one of the offensive linemen who I had mocked the Carolina Panthers like 1,000 times. And as I said before day 3 started, I feel like this guy's most likely going to be a Carolina Panther by the end of the day. Not just because he's got ties with Ike Ekwonu, the other NC State guy. I just think how he plays the game, and that's guard Chandler Zavala. He is a pretty big dude, 6'3", 322 pounds, and he is a road grinder. He's basically just a somewhat smaller version of Ike Ekwonu. Sure, they're teammates in college as well. They know each other very well, which is good to know because Austin Corbett could miss some time, as Scott Fitter and Frank Wright said, because of the ACL injury he suffered at the last game of the season. So it's good to have some chemistry with somebody that you've been playing with at least a couple of years in college. And so there's just that unspoken connection that they might have, which is going to be very valuable on the field. And hopefully they harness that during training camp. But he is a road grader, just like Ike Ekwonu is. The guy looks pissed off. He looks jacked for a guy who's that big at 6'3", 322 pounds. He doesn't just look like a fat guy. I think very few offensive linemen do in 2023. The guy looks absolutely yoked. And so I'm glad to have him on the team. And if you see James Campen in the video that the Carolina Panthers shared on socials, Campen is hype. First of all, I'm glad that Campen's still on the team. He didn't leave for greener pastures. He's staying, and he's continuing to build one of the more up-and-coming, rising offensive lines in the NFL. The Eagles are kind of the top notch, according to a couple, but I think the Panthers are going to give him a run for their money. I think he is going to be an impact player potentially right at the beginning of the season with Austin Corbett out. Of course, you got Brady Christensen as well, who also got injured in the last game of the season. So I think Zavala is going to get a lot of look and a lot of work starting week 1. I think is going to be an easy fan favorite. He already seems to be a media fan favorite, and that is safety / nickel corner Jamie Robinson out of Florida State. Somewhat smaller guy that you would expect from the Carolina Panthers, 5'11", 190 pounds. You always think that they're out to get physical freaks. Feels like they did that in the undrafted free agent class. But Robinson, he's got that dog in him. He is literally that mean. It's just, if you got an X-ray of his chest, it's just pit bulls everywhere. And he spoke it. He spoke it in the press conference via Zoom with the media. Not very rarely do guys get drafted, like last pick of the draft for a Carolina Panthers squad. They only picked 5 guys this year. Get this much attention, and he seems like a guy who wants to contribute immediately. He respects the game, all phases of the game, specifically special teams. He talks about how important that is into the flow of the game and how it can change things and flip it on its head. But also the fact, his mentality is the fact that he doesn't think that there's 140 guys better than him. He doesn't. And so he's coming in here thinking that he's gonna start, he's gonna compete. I think having a guy like Von Bell as a safety could be a great mentor to him. Same with Dante Jackson, because they say he could either play safety or nickel. With the Panthers need some help with that. And so I think he's gonna be great. I think they got that dog in him. He can hit dudes. He's got the hit stick. Seems like a guy who just believes in himself, and he's ticked off. He got picked that late in the draft. If you want to call, being picked, in the top 140, 145 players in the country, as being ticked off about that, sure, choose whatever edge you can to try to get you fired up for this season, because I think this guy as well, him and Zavala, I think all these guys, there's only 5 picks. If you take away Bryce Young, obviously he's probably going to start, as early as week 1, maybe week 2. But everybody else, whether it's Mingo, whether it's Johnson, I think could be the guy who probably doesn't start right away, but I can see Zavala and Robinson getting a lot of play time. I'm so excited for the preseason to see what these guys do with the time that they're given. But I could definitely see, obviously, Bryce Young getting a lot of play time, probably starting. I can see Zavala probably starting in week 1. Robinson contributing on special team at the least. And then DJ Johnson, depending on how he picks up the playbook, I could see him getting as a rotational edge. And then, of course, Jonathan Mingo, he's going to have some competition. Obviously, Terrace Marshall, he's going to hopefully light a fire under his ass, and they make each other better. And then Adam Thielen is kind of that wealth of knowledge. So if Mingo wants to take that coaching from a guy like Adam Thielen, as well as the wide receiver coach Sean Jefferson, then I think that I just keep thinking about his son Van. Then I think he can also be a contributor very early, and maybe we don't have to wait for him to develop as much as TMJ, which he was kind of put in a weird situation with Matt Rule and COVID and all that stuff. But I think Mingo, also out of these guys, could also contribute week one. All right, we've reached the halfway point of this episode, so it's time to announce the winner of the Carolina Panthers Bryce Young Process Blue jersey. It's the game jersey. They haven't released a limited jersey yet, so forgive me for not getting the top quality. That's not a game-worn jersey, but I appreciate the 75 people who went back to my live video and totally exonerated me for being an idiot and thinking that comments in live videos actually stick around. They do not. Going back, 75 people commented. I put it all in through a software. Thanks to PNP for giving me that hookup. And then it just chose a random winner. It had nothing to do with who you were or whatever. It's just a random winner. And so, without further ado, the winner of the Bryce Young Process Blue Carolina Panthers game jersey is Evan Perrotta at E_PIRROTTA. Oh, he's also a Tottenham fan. That had nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. I also like Tottenham. But I'm going to hit you up. I see you're from Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs guy, Toronto fan, Toronto sports fan, but I defended the bunch of jerks, the Carolina Hurricanes, when Don Cherry was going after them. I like having fun. Carolina Hurricanes have fun. So I appreciate your team. I feel like we're going to be playing each other en route to the Stanley Cup final. I think it's going to happen. You are the winner of the Bryce Young jersey. Carolina Panthers drafted 5 players. They then are about to sign 13 undrafted free agents. So they're also winning in all this. They're going to get a chance to live their dream, put on an NFL helmet, be at an NFL minicamp, all that fun stuff. So these are some of the guys who I think have a chance to actually stick with the squad. Number 1, cornerback Ray John White. Dude is 6'3", 193 pounds, height, weight, speed guy, just like what Scott Fitterer loves to draft. That's why I was kind of surprised about the Jamie Robinson. He's a bit of a shorter guy, but he's a thumper. He's an attitude guy, so I'm all about that. But Ray John White, guy's got pedigree as well. He is a first team with the Pac-12 as a cornerback with Oregon State. There's a lot of highlights you've probably already seen if you looked him up, if you care about this kind of stuff. Locking down Jordan Addison at a university in Southern California, who, by the way, y'all remember who their quarterback is, freaking Caleb Williams, for God's sakes. Locking him down. He's a first-round pick to the Minnesota Vikings, and so the guy has seen some NFL talent in his life, but I think the fact that height, weight, speed guy, and he's in a cornerback room with a bunch of guys like Dante Jackson and J.C. Horn just can't stay healthy. Keith Taylor, C.J. Henderson, who I don't even think is going to be on the team this year. I think he is going to make an impact in rookie minicamp, at training camp, and I think he's going to be contributing as long as he can just wrap his head around stuff. That's the problem with a lot of these rookies, specifically undrafted rookies. You always see it. It's a tale as old as time. They come in here, they're good players. Like I said, all Pac-12. But it's just how fast you got to digest stuff and just put it out in the field while also trusting your instincts at the same time and just being a baller. If he can do that, I think he's going to make the team. I think he's going to make an impact. Another guy on the team that I think is going to make an impact is Cam Peoples, running back out of Appalachian State. I think he fills a need. Not that we need more running backs, but we need a different kind of running back. Everyone that we got, including Miles Sanders, who they're paying like $4 or $5 million a year to, are all, dual threat guys. Not saying he can't catch, but just physically. He's like 6'3", 223 pounds, big dude. And if you take a look at his highlights, again, not an Appalachian State fan, so I'm privy to just looking at highlights. He performs well in crunch opportunities against big-time opponents like in the SEC. I saw him do well against Texas A&M. And so with a guy that size, just naturally, you don't want to hit a dude like that big, late in the fourth quarter. Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, they're not big like that. They're just not. And the other running backs we got are shorter guys. And so it's just, you're not as scared. You just naturally wouldn't mind hitting a guy who's like 5'10", 190 compared to a guy who's 6'2", 6'3", 225, who could probably put on some more muscle because he's built quite slight. And so I could totally see him making this team just because he fits that positional need and quality need in the running back room. Looking at the linebackers, specifically the inside linebackers in Bumper Pool and Austin Ajake. out of UNLV. Bumper pool specifically because he had a top 30 visit with the team. The only thing is with him, which probably didn't get drafted for this reason, was injuries. Same thing with Eku Leota. Leota had some hip injuries, but Bumper pool, I could totally see him as long as he, again, wraps his head around the defensive playbook and makes plays. I could also see him making an impact on this team and maybe making the 52-man roster. So let me know what you guys think of the day 3 draft class with Zavala and Jamie Robinson. Are you happy with these guys? Do you think they could have done something else? Maybe drafted a running back or an inside linebacker that has, that's more draftable. What do you think of the undrafted free agents? Am I the only one who thinks it's kind of romantic looking at these people and being like, oh man, they didn't get drafted, but they could still punch their ticket to the NFL? Let me know. We see those success stories all the time. Is there an undrafted free agent that you like? And again, if you did not win the Bryce Young jersey, don't worry. There's still going to be lots of opportunities for giveaways. I like making people happy. That's why I do this, because this makes me happy. So keep watching. Don't just unsubscribe. We're in this together. The season's hasn't even gotten started yet, and I'm so hyped. I can't wait to do more content for you guys. Appreciate you. Make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word. See you soon.